Something is happening inside organizations right now that is being misread almost universally. The official narrative is that AI is transforming business. Boards are approving AI budgets. Chief AI officers are being appointed, press releases are going out, and inside those same organizations, adoption is low, the workflows are unchanged, and the return is invisible. The investment is real, the intent is genuine, and the results in most organizations are close to nothing. Here is what this module asks you to accept because the evidence now supports it. That gap between investment and return is not a technology failure. It is three structural failures running simultaneously inside the same organization. This module is the diagnosis, not the narrative, the mechanism. 4 things you will take from this module: how to read the adoption data past the official story, the 3 structural failures appearing consistently across industries and geographies, the mistake organizations made in 1995 now being repeated with AI, and the 4 questions that tell you exactly where your rebuild begins. Start with the first failure because I have watched it for 25 years. In most organizations, AI is a technology project, and technology projects go to the CIO. The CIO builds the stack, and it is often well built. And then it sits there, connected to nothing that has changed, serving people who were not prepared for it, embedded in workflows that were not redesigned for it. I watched this exact failure long before AI. Enterprises would make substantial investments in video conferencing. The CIO owned it, and adoption stayed low year after year for reasons that had nothing to do with the technology. The users were never trained, so starting a meeting meant calling IT. The workflow was never redesigned, so a simple conversation required a booked room and a scheduled bridge. Assigning AI to the CIO is assigning a quarter of the operating system build to someone with no authority over the other 3 quarters. The second failure is happening at the function level, often in the same organization. Marketing has deployed an AI customer platform. Sales has an AI layer on the CRM. HR has AI in recruitment, supply chain has AI forecasting, finance has an AI reporting engine. Each deployment was justified individually. Each has its own vendor, its own data, its own governance. None of them were designed to connect to each other. The organization has not deployed AI. It has deployed 5 separate AI projects that happen to exist inside the same legal entity. This is not a technology failure. It is an architecture failure, and it is the direct result of the silo structure that has governed enterprises for decades. AI deployed into that structure amplifies the hoarding. And the data now confirms what the architecture predicts. Strip away the narrative and look at what is measurable. In 2025, MIT studied hundreds of enterprise AI initiatives and found that despite tens of billions of dollars in investment, 95% of organizations were seeing no measurable impact on profit and loss, while a 5% minority captured almost all of the value. That number invited skepticism, and it should, but it did not fade as the methodology was picked over. It hardened. 4 research houses, 4 samples, 1 pattern. And read carefully, none of that research says the technology failed. It says the opposite. The barrier is the inability of organizations to integrate AI into their workflows, structures, and ways of working. The third failure is the deepest because we have made it before. When the internet arrived in the mid-90s, the dominant response was to digitize existing processes. The paper sales process moved to a CRM. The printed invoice became a PDF. The logic of how work was done did not change. The organizations that compounded value were the ones that redesigned the operating model around what the internet made possible. Netflix dismantled its own working business to build streaming. Blockbuster offered the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million, declined, bolted digital onto a store-based model, and filed for bankruptcy 10 years later. Both companies had the same internet. The difference was operating model courage. Most organizations are making the blockbuster mistake with AI right now, adding it to workflows designed for human-only execution instead of redesigning the workflows for what AI makes possible. So, where does the rebuild begin? With 4 questions and the honesty to answer them. Is our technology converged so intelligence can flow across systems, or fragmented into tools that cannot feed each other? Have we redesigned our core workflows for human and AI collaboration, or bolted AI onto processes built for humans only? Is our workforce prepared, equipped, and governed to work alongside AI, or were they handed tools and left to improvise? And are our workspaces configured for how work now happens, or for how it happened before? An uncomfortable answer to any one of them is not a verdict. It is a location. That is where the operating system build begins, not with the next tool, with the misaligned pillar. If you recognized your organization in those 3 failures, hear this clearly. You are not behind, you are early. Most organizations are in exactly this position. The difference between the ones that recover and compound and the ones that spend the next decade in pilot purgatory is a single decision: whether to build the operating system before deploying the next wave of AI investment. The winners will not necessarily hold the largest budgets or the most advanced models. They will hold an operating system designed to make AI work. And that is a leadership decision, not a technology decision. So, to close, the gap between AI investment and AI return is structural, not technological. 3 failures produce it: the CIO owning what the CIO cannot deliver, islands of AI that cannot talk to each other, and the 1995 mistake repeated: bolting the new technology onto the old logic of work. The small minority capturing the value built the operating system first. And 4 questions tell you where your build begins. The next module answers the objection you may already be forming, that every technology wave brings a diagnosis like this one and organizations muddle through. Why is this disruption different in kind, not just in speed? That is where we go next. I will see you there.